Hello, this is SME TV and I'm your host, Angela Vithulkas. This is our 5 in 5 show. That's 5 tips in 5 minutes and a little bit from our guests as well. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can support us and all SMEs, and you can share, like and comment. Now, what are we asking today? Well, today it's all about how to optimize the selling process. And joining us today with his 5 tips is Nikhil Rughani, Principal of Shot of Copy. How are you?
Hey, thanks, Angela. I'm really good. How are you?
Look, the selling process is, in fact, the be-all and end-all of the journey of the customer, where we want them to end up, and how we do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really optimizing the process of it, and that's all the wheels that turn in that journey. Really optimizing that is what's going to make the difference. And that's where someone like you comes in. But let's give everyone a little bit of background about you. You've been writing professionally since 2001. You started your agency in 2009. You've worked with some big brands and you've got stats, results to back up the process of what you do and what you believe in, what you put forward to your clients. So some of the brands that you've worked with, St. George Bank, Fisher & Paykel, HP, I want you to tell us, share with us before we get to your 5 tips, what did you advise them? What was the process? What results did you get? What can you share with us about what you did for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously there's a few brands that I've worked for which are pretty well known. And so the stuff that I've done for these guys has really been around how can they generate more revenue? How can they simplify their own processes so that they can get more money faster, right? So
do even the big brands make things too complicated?
I think they probably make it really complicated. Right. And sometimes it's just, the simple answer is the best. So for one of the clients that I did work with, big IT brand, we managed to get them an early renewal on a $12 million contract, right? How early? 18 months early.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's $12 million, which they managed to get into their pocket 18 months earlier. And that helped them obviously with their own revenue goals and revenue generation as well. With another business, we helped them to enter into a brand new market, which they'd actually been struggling with for, it's almost like 5 or 6 years. We not only helped them to enter this new industry and new market, but actually open up a pipeline of $180 million.
Okay. And this is because of simplifying the process.
Simplifying the process, yeah.
Optimizing and simplifying the process itself.
Yeah, both internally as also with the clients. Because there's our internal processes like our back end, but also then how do we front up to the client? How do we make a presentation? How do we take them through the journey to make them into a customer? Yeah.
Well, actually, that's one of the most interesting facets that you've just mentioned is that optimizing the sales process, but also simplifying it is 2 sides of a coin, right? Simplifying it can also be, obviously it's better for the customer experience, but for the staff, for the team who are trying to get through this process, the simpler and easier it is to do, the better they will be at their job.
That's right.
So you've got an increase in productivity.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win. It is a win-win. Oh, look, I'm sure with the tips that we're going to cover now, you're going to give us 5 tips on how we can actually optimize the selling process.
Yeah.
I'm going to remind you, 5 tips, 5 minutes.
Let's do this.
We're on the clock. Let's start. How to optimize the selling process. Tip 1, make it simple for your customer.
The customer is your king, right? Like it's the source of your cash flow. So one of my biggest tips is make it so simple. Don't make them jump through hoops. Yeah. I've worked with customers who had, fill out this $14 million field, form so that you can get to the next page. But no, make it simple for them. Get only what's necessary. Progressively increase the amount of data capture, but make it simple for the customer to get in touch with you. Make it simple for the customer to pay you. Now, I've had clients where they didn't previously accept credit card, and we said, well, how much business are you losing because of that, right? Make it simple for the customer to give you their money, whether it's cash, credit card, gold bullion, whatever. Make it easy for them. The easier it is for your customer, the more likely they are to want to do business for you.
So if we give, for example, when you're looking at capturing data or making them fill out forms as part of this sales process, when a customer looks at something that is like a page long of questions, that's immediately a wall that you're putting up between converting the sales process, or even if they have to come back, right? So they'll remember, oh my gosh, I've got to fill out 2 pages of stuff and I don't even get what I want yet.
Correct, yeah. And imagine if they're going to a competitor, they only ask for three things: name, email address, phone number, and then they get a contact. Who's going to end up on top?
It's more encouraging, right? It seems like you've got your act together if you don't need as much information.
Correct, yeah.
On the surface. On the surface.
And that's
all right. Tip 2, be committed to the process, not attached to the outcome.
Yeah, so when you're going out there and selling, a lot of people are thinking about, what if I get the sale? What if I don't get the sale?
Yep.
You know, what is this person going to object to? Is he going to have a money objection or a time objection or whatever, right? Too many people are, I'd say that they're attached to the outcome of what the sales call or the sales presentation is going to be, okay? If you create a process, firstly, you need to design it, make it repeatable, make it as bulletproof as you possibly can.
Yep.
Always trust the process, even if it's tempting to deviate. Because if you follow the process and you can duplicate that process, you just know all you have to do is keep doing your thing, you'll get the results. Maybe not every single time, but you will get the results probably more often than not.
Because you're relying on that process as opposed to being emotionally attached to, will it get me there? Well, there's a process to get you there.
Correct. And here's the thing, if you're emotionally attached, the customer kind of picks up on that too.
Yeah.
You know, they think you're just there for the money.
Yeah, or it's a nervous thing, or it's okay, well, how would you like to pay? Oh, but maybe I've got one more question. Yeah, but how would you like to pay? Well, maybe I have one more question.
Yeah.
So it's when they're ready. So the process, design a great process, have it simple for everyone to use, but also rely on that to get you through to the end.
Yeah, trust it. You got to trust the process.
And process is not a dirty word, right?
No, absolutely not. Got to love it.
Tip 3, don't complicate your process.
Yeah, this is one thing. A lot of people end up doing this is they put unnecessary additional steps in there because they think, it's got to be thorough. There's a difference between being thorough and there's a difference between being overburdened.
Right.
So the harder it is for you to follow, the easier it is for you to fail. Okay. So processes are there to make your sales and your marketing easier. So keep it simple. Remember the old acronym KISS? Keep it simple, yeah? Or keep it simple, sweetheart, whatever you want to call it. But keep it simple, right? Because when there's minimal moving parts, when there's least amount of moving parts, the easier it is to follow, the less likelihood it's going to be to break down. Processes are logical, they're rational, it takes the emotion out of the game, but the more processes you've got, the more nervous you get because you've got to try and remember everything. So keep it simple, don't complicate it, and deliver an awesome experience.
Nikhil, are you surprised that a lot of people set up processes, but they don't test them for a customer experience? They just assume that because it looks right to them and that's what they want, that therefore that's what the customer wants?
That's a common mistake. In fact, that's probably too common a mistake I see in a lot of businesses, right? The thing is though, remember, your process should be driven by the customer needs and the customer outcome. Your customer at the end of the day is the one that's going to pay you the money.
Yep.
So make sure it's the process that serves them. Okay. It's got to serve the customer. It's not going to be, it's not about making yourself feel good or making yourself feel like, you're on top, but it comes down to the fact that, hey, make it easy for your customer. Is it what your customer needs? Is it what your customer wants? And then you can follow that process and get the outcome you want because now it's customer focused as opposed to you focused.
Right. Tip 4. The most effective form of lead generation is direct response marketing. Tell us a little bit, give us some background on what direct response marketing is and why.
So direct response marketing is the type of marketing that is designed around generating leads. It's the type of marketing that's designed around trying to capture more people and turn them into clients quickly. Okay. Right. It's not a long drawn out process. It's not about saying, let's put some branding out there. It's not about saying, let's, put posters and stuff out there. It's about saying, okay, we're going to put an ad out there and we're going to have an offer on there. And when people ring up, that offer is going to tempt them to want to work with us, right? So what
is that developing a pipeline?
It's basically the process used to develop the pipeline, yeah? So when someone tells you, if you buy now, we'll give you 50% off, that's a direct response offer.
Right.
As opposed to someone says, here's my brand on this big poster, and they try and win you over through brand recognition, brand familiarity. That's a long-term process. Right. If you're an SME, branding is a luxury, right? Leads and cash flow is king, right? Direct response marketing develops that lead and turns it into a client quickly. It's called direct response because the response is buy now. Yeah.
And is that by enticing that customer quickly And like you said, using the example of a 50% off, they get something. They're also on your database now because you've captured that. So you can market to them again.
Yes.
Chances are you might convert them again, even faster.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. So what you do is you're capturing that customer to put them onto your database. You might just even give them something free. We talk about lead magnets, and some people call them tripwires, but really if you give them something free, they will come onto your database. And now that you've got their email address, you can now email market to them. Yeah.
Right. And they already know a little bit about you. You've established a little bit about goodwill. Hopefully they've liked whatever it is you've given away to entice them onto the database.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win again.
That's right. And it's about meeting a need immediately. It's about getting an immediate result and immediate value.
Who doesn't want that?
You're crazy if you don't.
Just want that. I was just thinking there's no downside there. Okay, tip 5. Marketing is about education. Sales is about service. This is my favorite tip.
Glad you like that one because it's actually one of mine too. So here's what I found is that most people are confused by what marketing is and they're really intimidated by sales. You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of noise around what sales is and what marketing is, right? Some people think sales is sleazy and some people think marketing is cheesy and, I just rhymed there. That was pretty cool. But the idea behind it is that if we look at marketing as educating our customer, okay, if we're marketing to educate, then we're in the spirit of giving. Okay, there is literally what we're doing is we're giving value, giving information, giving education, and then warming up your customer to the point where they're ready to buy. Yeah. Then when we look at sales, right, sales is service to a customer. If we just think of sales as being, let's get the money, then that's service. When sales is, okay, how can I help you? What value can I add? All of a sudden, service becomes the precursor to a relationship, right? And it's all about the relationship. Sales, doesn't matter what industry you're in, doesn't matter what business you're on, sales should always be about the relationship, and the relationship should always come first, right? If you're putting the customer last, if you're putting the relationship last, you're not going to have good traction. You're not going to have good conversion. You're going to have customers that are going to be dissatisfied all the time. All right. So sales, when you think about your service, it's the demonstration of the relationship and the commitment that you're offering to your client. And if they like
hear what you're saying, and one of the reasons we both obviously agree on tip 5 being that one of the best tips of all is that you enact through your marketing, you enact the simplification of your processes, you set up all your infrastructure, you've got all of that in place, you're clear on your call to action, you've done all that work. Then you get to the point where you're selling something, you're closing the deal, but not for it to be like closing the deal, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, we've taken it off the table now. It's, as you said, establishing a relationship because you want that customer to come back, or even better, besides buying something again, referring someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. See, we're on the same page on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it is, because people will be wowed. And this is where it comes down to sales and marketing as being, one is education, the other is service, is because it's about the experience you're creating for that end user. The customer may not remember what they buy, right? But they'll always remember the experience. And this is about selling and marketing to create an experience, right? Because people remember how you make them feel.
And I think that's where, if you look at the engagement between big brands and smaller brands, is that when they do get reviews, when big brands get a review, the positive reviews are often about the product.
Yeah.
I liked that pen because it wrote really well. They don't talk about other things. Yet when people do a review on small brands, it's like, I love the product that I bought, but the people were so friendly. They really helped me out. They gave me good advice. It's all those other things.
That's right. That's right.
That they talk about when they do a review, when they're that sold, or when they're not that happy.
Or when they're not happy, it's just the same, yeah?
That's right. It's the process again, or the sales part of it, or the service part of it. Right. As usual, you've given us 5 great tips. We love that. We appreciate that. And we thank you very much for sharing those tips. It's Nikhil, principal of Shot of Copy. Now, here is my message. To our viewers and our listeners, Nikhil, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel because you support us and all SMEs, and you can share, like, and comment. We have to give a big shout out to the SMEA Association, because without them and believing in us, SME TV wouldn't be here. And more importantly, if you would like to reach us and you think you've got 5 tips in 5 minutes, email us news@smea.org.au, and we're across all the socials as well. Nikhil, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Angela.
We'll have you, I'm sure we will have you again for 5 more tips in 5 more minutes.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.